How Google Maps real-time traffic buried MapQuest. In 1996, when most people still folded paper maps in their glove compartments and called gas stations for directions, MapQuest launched as MapQuest.com and changed everything. This wasn't just another .com experiment. This was the first company to let you type in an address and get turn-by-turn directions printed on your home computer. Within 2 years, MapQuest was processing over 150 million direction requests monthly, becoming the internet's most popular mapping service and generating massive advertising revenue from users who desperately needed to get from point A to point B. By 2005, MapQuest commanded an absolutely dominant 60% market share of online mapping services, was serving over 50 million unique users monthly, and had become so synonymous with online directions that MapQuesting it entered common vocabulary alongside Googling something. The company had successfully monetized the most fundamental human need after food and shelter, knowing where you are and how to get where you're going. They charged businesses premium rates to appear prominently in local search results, sold advertising space on direction pages that users stared at while planning trips, and licensed their mapping data to other companies. MapQuest's business model was printing money because they had solved a universal problem first and built an insurmountable head start in the online mapping space. But in October 2005, Google quietly launched Google Maps with a feature that seemed almost mundane at the time: draggable maps. While MapQuest still required users to click arrows to move around static map images like they were navigating a primitive video game, Google Maps let you grab the map and smoothly drag it in any direction, zooming in and out with your mouse wheel in real time. The interface felt revolutionary. Instead of requesting a new map image from MapQuest's servers every time you wanted to see a different area, Google's Ajax-powered system made exploring maps feel fluid and natural. More importantly, Google Maps launched with satellite imagery integration, letting users switch between traditional road maps and actual aerial photographs of their destinations. Within 6 months, Google Maps was processing over 100 million searches monthly, and by 2007, Google had captured 20% of the online mapping market purely through superior user experience. MapQuest executives dismissed Google Maps as a pretty interface without substance, pointing out that their own service had more comprehensive business listings, more detailed local information, and partnerships with major GPS device manufacturers like Garmin and TomTom. They were fighting the last war while Google was already building the next one. The real killshot came in 2007 when Google acquired a small Israeli startup called Waze for $1.1 billion. No, wait. That acquisition happened in 2013. The actual killshot started in 2007 when Google began integrating real-time traffic data into Google Maps, initially covering just major metropolitan areas, but expanding rapidly. MapQuest's directions were still based on static algorithms that assumed every road would have the same travel time regardless of current conditions, meaning their directions could send you straight into a 2-hour traffic jam while insisting the trip should take 30 minutes. Google's traffic data came from multiple sources: anonymous location data from Android phones, historical traffic patterns, and partnerships with local traffic authorities. When you searched for directions on Google Maps, the system would automatically route you around accidents, construction, and congestion, then update your route in real time if conditions changed while you were driving. This wasn't just a minor feature improvement. It was the difference between arriving on time and arriving furious and 2 hours late. Google had turned directions from a static printout into a dynamic, living system that adapted to the real world. The mobile revolution of 2008 to 2012 was where MapQuest's business model completely collapsed. When Apple launched the iPhone in 2007 and Google released Android in 2008, suddenly everyone carried a computer with GPS capabilities in their pocket. Google Maps came pre-installed on Android devices and was available as a free download on iPhones, complete with GPS navigation, real-time traffic updates, and automatic rerouting. Users no longer needed to print directions at home or pay $200 for a dedicated GPS device. Their phone could provide superior navigation for free. MapQuest scrambled to release mobile apps, but they were consistently rated poorly in app stores because the company had built their entire infrastructure around serving static map images to desktop computers, not providing real-time navigation to mobile devices. By 2009, Google Maps was processing over 200 million mobile searches monthly, while MapQuest's mobile usage remained negligible. The company that had pioneered online mapping was being left behind by the shift to mobile mapping, losing users who discovered that Google's free mobile navigation was superior to anything they could get from MapQuest's website. Google's strategy wasn't just about building better maps. It was about creating an integrated ecosystem where mapping was one part of a larger system. Google Maps connected seamlessly with Gmail to automatically detect addresses in your emails, integrated with Google Calendar to provide directions to your appointments, and linked with Google Search to let you find businesses and get directions in a single query. When you searched Google for pizza near me, you didn't just get a list of restaurants. You got an interactive map showing their locations, user reviews, photos, hours of operation, and one-click directions. MapQuest's standalone approach suddenly felt antiquated compared to Google's integrated experience. Google also made a crucial strategic decision to offer Google Maps completely free to consumers while monetizing through advertising and business listings. MapQuest had always charged premium rates for detailed features and relied heavily on banner advertising. But they couldn't compete with Google's free everything model backed by the world's largest advertising revenue stream. The technical infrastructure battle was equally decisive. Google had built Google Maps on top of their own proprietary mapping data, satellite imagery, and global network of servers, giving them complete control over user experience and update speed. MapQuest relied heavily on licensed data from third-party providers like Navteq and TeleAtlas, meaning they often had to wait months for updated road information and couldn't customize the user experience. When Google's Street View cars began driving every road in America starting in 2007, collecting panoramic photographs and updating road data in real time, MapQuest had no equivalent capability. Google could verify business locations, update road closures, and improve navigation accuracy through their own data collection, while MapQuest was stuck with whatever their data providers supplied. By 2010, Google was operating more than 1 million servers worldwide to power Google Maps, providing lightning-fast response times globally, while MapQuest's infrastructure felt increasingly sluggish and unreliable under growing user demands. The final nails in MapQuest's coffin came through Google's partnerships and distribution strategy. Google secured default mapping integration with major platforms. Google Maps became the default mapping service on Android devices, which captured 50% of smartphone market share by 2012, and remained the most popular mapping app on iPhones, despite Apple's efforts to promote their own mapping service. Google also integrated Maps with local business services, letting restaurants and retailers update their information directly and providing detailed indoor maps for shopping malls and airports. When businesses wanted to be found online, they optimized for Google Maps, not MapQuest. Google's local business listings became more comprehensive and accurate than MapQuest's offerings because Google had created incentives for businesses to maintain their own information. By 2011, Google Maps was serving over 1 billion users worldwide and processing more than 1 billion direction requests monthly, while MapQuest's usage had declined to less than 100 million monthly users, most of whom were older demographics resistant to switching services. MapQuest's attempts at innovation during 2008-2012 were too little, too late, and often backfired spectacularly. They redesigned their website multiple times, trying to copy Google's interface improvements, but each redesign confused existing users without attracting new ones. MapQuest launched their own mobile apps, but they were consistently buggy and missing features that Google Maps users took for granted, like offline map storage and real-time GPS recalculation. The company tried to differentiate through partnerships with social media platforms and travel websites, but these integrations felt gimmicky compared to Google's practical improvements in core navigation functionality. MapQuest's parent company AOL, itself struggling with the decline of dial-up internet, couldn't provide the massive infrastructure investment needed to compete with Google's mapping dominance. When AOL was acquired by Verizon in 2015, For $4.4 billion, MapQuest was barely mentioned in the deal analysis. A service that had once been worth billions was now considered a minor legacy asset. The numbers tell the complete story of this industry killshot. In 2005, MapQuest commanded 60% market share with 50 million monthly users and was the undisputed king of online mapping. By 2012, Google Maps had captured 67% of mobile map users and was serving over 1 billion people worldwide, while MapQuest had fallen to less than 3% market share and was hemorrhaging users monthly. Google's mapping service generated billions in advertising revenue and became essential infrastructure for countless other businesses, from ride-sharing services to food delivery apps to location-based social media. MapQuest went from processing the majority of online direction requests to being a historical footnote that most users under 25 had never heard of. The company that created the online mapping industry was buried by Google's combination of superior technology, integrated ecosystem, mobile-first design, real-time traffic data, and unlimited resources for infrastructure development. MapQuest had solved the problem of getting directions online, but Google solved the bigger problem of navigation in the real world. And that difference destroyed not just MapQuest, but the entire business model of standalone mapping services forever.